path to healing this part of myself through research into my ancestry and also learning Indigenous ways of knowing and living and Indigenous worldviews. And interestingly enough, my turning back to investigate my ancestry is because of 4 Seasons of Reconciliation. An elder said, don't worry about Indigenous people. Don't treat us as poor me. There's nothing poor about us. Look to yourselves. Look to your own ancestors. Look to connecting to your own history. And then we can come together. And I thought, okay, yep, yes. So I did an Ancestry DNA. This is a couple years ago. And I am the cakiest cake that you could ever cake in Canada. I'm literally, out of the whole world, my whole entire ancestry comes from like 2 little islands, and not even the whole island, parts of 2 little islands. That's it. I am, whatever, I'll show you right here. I'm this. And I do not resonate with Christianity in any kind of a way. So looking into my ancestry, looking into pre-Christian Scotland and Ireland is tough. There's almost nothing available to know about. One thing that is that it was hard polytheism, which I'm also not down with. All gods are one God. There's only creator. That works for me. Very, very united. But I'm not even sure if that's true. What I do know is true is that the Scots and the Irish were Celtic, but I am primarily Celtic, and that resonates with me. But also these people, pre-Christian, were animists. They believed that everything was inspirited, that everything had a spirit, and you honored the spirit in everything. And there was no separation between the sacred and the profane. Your life was a sacred act, that every encounter was a sacred act, that that celebrations and ceremonies happened on a daily basis, and there was giving thanks for everything. And you gave thanks to all the spirits, all the time. And I think that's lovely. That speaks to me on a very deep basis. Here's a PSA to my fellow Celts. Go to the doctor and get tested for hemochromatosis. Okay? 1 out of 150 UK inhabitants or descendants have hemochromatosis. And what hemochromatosis is a flawed gene. Those of us with hemochromatosis, I have it, do not know when to stop absorbing iron. Okay? That's what it does. We just absorb iron forever, just continually, never stop. So you need to get tested for iron saturation, okay? Not just an iron test, iron saturation. You can tell your doctor you're actually testing for hemochromatosis because it's starting to get known now. It's more prevalent or known in the medical field. But it does require a genetic test to know for sure whether you have it. And the outcomes can be terrible for those who aren't tested. It can mean early death because you go into what's called iron overload, where the muscles and organs in your body absorb so much iron that they become diseased basically, and they shut down. And that's not good. For women who have regular menstrual cycles, that actually takes care of your iron. The therapy for hemochromatosis is giving blood. I give blood as often as I can, which is about every 2 months, and that modulates my hemochromatosis. It's like bloodletting, but it's good. You get to give your iron-rich blood to someone else who needs it. It's genetically inherited. Yeah, go get tested because it's not going to hurt, and you may save yourself some problems in the future. My geneticist, when she tested me for hemochromatosis, when she was explaining it to me, she said, you'll be really good in a famine. And I thought, great. But that kind of came around later, and I thought, yeah, you know what? There's been a lot of famine in Ireland and Scotland, and that's why we have hemochromatosis, is because our ancestors survived famines because they were able to absorb iron from anything, and they passed it on to us. My ancestors are the survivors of famine. I wonder if they'd be pleased or disappointed that I'm so fat. No famine for her.
So as a white person in conservation, I learned a long time ago that there would literally be no need for me in my field. There would not be a job as a conservation biologist if the indigenous people had been left alone to manage their own resources, right? I was participating in a webinar today that literally just was like hammering that fact back into my brain. The webinar was just called Environmental Justice Through the Tribal Lens, and they had 2 indigenous representatives on the panel. The thing I learned today that I should have known is this. Californian plants evolved with fire. Fire is a normal part of their life cycle. If we don't have prescribed burns, we're going to have an overabundance of plants drawing on the water available and creating more hazardous drought-like conditions. I don't know how many times I'm going to have to reinforce this fact into my brain, but if you do not have a group of diverse people and different voices speaking, you're never going to get anything done for the environment. I should have known this, and I didn't, and the only reason I learned it is because an indigenous person was given the space to speak. They have ancestral knowledge and are going to be better at preserving the environment than we ever could be. And because I needed to hear it today, I'm saying it to you as well.
I want to share with you a book. This book means so much to me. This author, Robin Wall Kimmerer, means so much to me because in reading her book, I felt validated for the first time in my life for my worldview and my belief system. I believe that all nature is kin. It's all alive. We're all connected. We're all family. Plants and animals have the same rights to exist as humans do. This to me is just fact. It's just the way it is. It's just the way the world has always been. She mirrored this to me for the first time in my life because Western culture, European culture does not, after Christianity, does not in its current incarnation support that in any way. Not at all. I have attempted a few times to talk to people about this and share this kind of belief system, this worldview that plants and animals are our equals, are our kin, and I've been treated like a kooky weirdo. Really oh, okay. No, how can you not know that? How can you not feel that in your heart?
I receive a lot of comments from non-Indigenous peoples asking how they can be an ally, how they can support Indigenous peoples. So let's talk about that. There's no perfect formula for allyship, but here's a few steps to help you get started. The roots to a strong allyship are planted by education. In order to help Indigenous peoples, you must first learn to understand us and our histories. Read our stories, but by Indigenous authors. You'll want to amplify Indigenous voices, but be conscious of the space that you may be taking up during these conversations. Visit events within Indigenous communities that are open to the public. And if not anything, you can always support from the outside with financial help and utilizing your privilege to share our experiences with your friends and your family. Decolonize your mind. I hope that helps. For some excellent resources to help you get started, follow the link in my bio.